right, there we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next installment of In-House Con. I hope you guys are all staying safe and that everybody is still healthy from that nasty COVID-19. I can't thank you all enough for joining us today. Very excited to have our next lineup of Star Wars guests. But before we get to our guests, I just want to let everybody know who I am, a little bit about the show. We've got to do some shout outs and then we'll get started. So for those of you new who have never come to the show before, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Derek Mackey. I'm the owner of Cool Waters Productions, LLC, which is a management company out in Hollywood. And we bring some of the actors who have been characters and behind the scenes artists from some of your favorite TV shows and movies. We bring them face to face to you at conventions all around the world. And because we can't go to conventions right now, we are doing it virtually right here online. I want to do some shout outs to some people who helped make today possible with some ads and interviews that they did. We have Beckett Media and Steve Grad, Star Wars Autograph News, Star Wars Autograph Universe, and Talking Bay 94. And also, even though it's not Star Wars related, our friends at TrekReport.com also helped get the word out today. So thanks, guys, very much for all of that. We invite all of our viewers to follow us on social media, any of the platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Our handle is @CoolWatersProds. It's the same all across the board. And coming up, we're very close, guys. I thought I was going to have it ready for announcing today, but we don't. The entire month of August is not 100% confirmed yet. The last weekend, we are waiting for one guest to confirm before we announce the theme for the last weekend. But I can promise you this, we have a very big name joining us for the last weekend, and I'm excited. I can't wait. But in the meantime, we do have our other dates already set to go. August 1st, which is next Saturday, we're going to have actors from horror movies. It's our horror hour, and it will feature Serena Vincent, Brooke Lewis Bella, Camden Toy, Maria Olsen. The following weekend, I'm very excited for. Since Star Trek, the official event in Las Vegas, is not happening, we decided to host our second Star Trek event on that weekend. So we're hoping that Star Trek fans who won't be in Vegas will be joining us online. And that's actors from the Star Trek universe. We've got some Discovery members, as well as an actor who was in Enterprise and Voyager. And our next one after that will be August 15th. It's the Art of Voiceover. We're going to have some of our clients that do voiceovers in cartoons and video games. So I hope you'll join us for that. For a full list of events and who's going to be on, you can always go to our website and check it out. Now, without further ado, we need to bring on today's guests. Before we do, as most of you know, we like to show trailers from the movies that they appeared in. So I'm going to ask you to bear with us. We're going to show 2 trailers before we bring on our group. And I'm going to do a little screen share here. Oh, wait, I forgot to do one more thing. Sorry, guys. I forgot to let everyone who's watching know, if you're on a laptop or a computer, can be a Mac or a Windows, it doesn't matter. We recommend that you do gallery view in the Zoom platform. Gallery view allows you to watch all of our guests in one spot. If you don't choose gallery view, Zoom chooses who you get to watch, and it's typically based on whoever's speaking. But gallery view tends to be a little bit of a better way to watch the show. Unfortunately, if you're calling in from a smartphone, whether it's an iPhone or an Android, Zoom does not allow you to choose gallery view, and you'll be stuck with Zoom choosing who you get to see. But we've asked all of our guests to keep over talking to a minimum so that you can focus on who's speaking. Now we will play our trailers. Hang tight with me for 1 second, guys. I just got to get them up and running. And I believe we've got it. So I'm going to do my screen share, and here we go.
For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic. Before the Dark Times. Before the Empire.
How did my father die?
A young Jedi named Darth Vader. helped the Empire hunt down and destroy the Jedi Knights. Now the Jedi are all but extinct. Vader was seduced by the dark side of the Force.
The Force?
Kid, I've flown from one side of this galaxy to the other. I've seen a lot of strange stuff, but I've never seen anything to make me believe there's one all-powerful force controlling everything.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
That's no moon.
I suggest we use it.
It's a space station.
Fear will keep the local systems in line. Fear of this battle station.
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed.
I am a Jedi. Like my father before me.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker. You are not a Jedi yet. Much anger in him. Like his father.
I won't fail you. I'm not afraid.
Luke, if you only knew the power of the dark side, you will be. You will be.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
I'll put your camera down, firepower of that Magneto. And you have the shield now. We've got to give him more time.
Now, young Skywalker. You will die.
The Force will be with you. Always.
You're after something. Is it revenge? Money? Or is it something else?
You look good. A little rough around the edges, but good.
Heard about a job. Big shot gangster putting together crew.
I'm a driver, and I'm a flyer. I waited a long time for a shot like this. What do you think? Well, what do you know?
You got a line on a ship?
Yeah, I know a guy. He's the best smuggler around.
I heard a story about you. I was wondering if it's true. Everything you've heard about me is true. Let go of the mean man's face.
Who are these guys? If you come with us, you're in this life for good.
You might wanna buckle up, baby.
Here they come! Let me give you some advice. Assume everyone will betray you, and you will never be disappointed.
I got a really good feeling about this. Since when do you know how to fly? 190 years old? You look great. Push it.
So glad we took this job!
right. Am I back? I'm back. There I am. Oh, every time we show the trailers before the guests come on, I almost want to just stop the show and go watch the movies. It's actually been a while since I've seen the original trilogy, so I think that's what I might be doing tomorrow. Let's bring on our guests, Ari Decker, Tim Dry, Jack Claff, and David Stone. My tech guy Tyler in the background is popping them all on now. We're missing Ari. Hello, hello. Uh-oh. Well, hopefully he'll be here. So hello, David. Where are you calling in from today?
Hi, Derek. I'm in London, well, just outside London, a place called Weybridge in Surrey. It's about 20 miles from London, and it's been raining very nicely. So how are you up there? Everything's sunny, I expect.
We're very beautiful out here in California, and I appreciate you joining us today. Who else? We have Jack. Where are you calling in from, sir?
I'm calling from London, England. I'm in a place called Loughborough Junction, not far from Brixton, Camberwell, just a couple of miles outside the city in London and central itself.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us. Tim, how about you? Where are you calling in from?
Yes, I'm currently residing on a small island in the South Pacific. Lots of coconuts. It's healthy. No, actually, I'm in Bayswater in London.
You guys joining us, because I know the hours to be on are quite different. So thank you for spending your evening with us. I appreciate it.
Well, yeah. Okay.
All right, guys. So every week we have a tradition here where we start off with a fan favorite question. It's actually a question of my own, but it gets asked in almost every Q&A that we do. So we kind of just kick off the show, starting it with this, and this is directed to all of you. And I know that you all have illustrious careers and that you've been in more than Star Wars, but Star Wars is primarily the viewership we have today, and everyone wants to know, how did you land your role in a Star Wars film? So Ari, since you're the new guy on the block, why don't we start with you?
Well, mine came out of the blue, really. I was in a completely different job, completely different industry, health and fitness industry, actually. And I had a phone call from a friend who I actually hadn't spoken to for about 11 or 12 years. And one of his friends worked in the film industry, and they were looking for someone that was over 6'10", that was athletic, physical, could take a bit of a hit. And I filled that bill. So I got an audition at Pinewood Studios in London. I spent the whole week there, actually. I thought it was only going to be a morning, but I spent a full week auditioning for this role. I didn't know what it was for. It kind of came out of the blue at the end of the week. And I did that well. The stunt coordinator approached me and said that he wanted me to be Chewbacca's stunt double. And being a fan as a kid, it was amazing to get that news. And then I haven't looked back since. It's been fantastic. It has.
Wow. Cool. Every fan's dream is to get the call that you got. Tim, how about you? How did you land your role in Star Wars?
Okay. I was a professional mime artist, and I've been working as such for 4 years. And my mime tutor phoned me up in the first week of January 1982 and said that he'd been contacted by the production team on the new Star Wars movie, and they were looking for mime artists to play creatures in this new unnamed movie. So myself and about 18 other people went along to Desmond, our tutor's school. Robert Watts was there, the producer, I think a female casting director, and maybe Phil Tippett, I'm not sure. But Desmond just said, do alien acting. So we did a whole load of stuff. And a week later, we got the call saying you got the job. There we go.
Very good. Thank you. Jack, how about you?
I didn't audition. It's really as simple as that. I did not audition. I hate to tell you this. I was in the very, very first Star Wars, and the very first Star Wars, no one knew anything about it. As a matter of fact, I've told the story many times, but my agent called it Stan Wars. So I think on the booking sheet, it was called Stan Wars. And I didn't know anything about any of the people involved. I knew where to go. And I just got on a train. In those days, there was no point in driving to Elstree. I went out there. By the way, it was a very hot summer and there was a drought on. It was absolutely boiling. I went along. I had this booking. I sat around for one day and a second day, and then I did the job. I met George Lucas for about 19 minutes, maybe half an hour maximum. But I'm afraid I did not audition.
Hey, not auditioning is a great way to get a role. I think a lot of actors wish that was how it happened.
No. It doesn't happen very often. I sometimes get, I sometimes get jobs in the weirdest ways. And I had been doing a science fiction thing before that with a guy called Freddie Freiberger, who for Trekkies produced Star Trek. That was for Space 1999. That I auditioned for, and I didn't get beyond one sentence. I said the word commander. He said, Jesus Christ, we have an English trained actor. He says, commander, not commander. You got yourself a job, guy. So, you can sometimes get a short audition. Sometimes you can get an audition and no job. That one, I got the job and no audition.
That's fantastic. All right, David, how did you land your role?
Well, what happened with me, after Drama Squad, I worked on the Brigitte Bardot film, and I was chosen as the best man at a wedding scene in the Tower of London. And the unit and the production office was at Elstree. And I was walking along, similar to Jack, didn't know anything about it, and I was approached by somebody asking me if I'd wear a mask. And I thought, well, this is a bit odd. Wear a mask. Would I be interested in wearing a rubber head mask, the whole thing, covered the head?
Sorry,
I said, I went to the sort of props room and everything and looked at everything, and I thought, well, why not? I mean, they offered pretty good money and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know what it was all about. I thought this is all a bit hit and miss. But of course, we weren't given names. And that particular creature that I played in the end was called the multi-eyed creature in the first instance. And then it was given another name as it progressed, because then they realized that something was going to happen with the Star Wars label and everything. At first they thought it was just another film, and then it was sort of all hush hush and all this. Anyway, that's similar to Jack. I didn't sort of audition. I just asked if I wear a rubber head, and I thought, in for a penny, in for a pound. Is that right? I don't know. Yeah. So here I am. And then I've worked on the first three Star Wars, 76, right, and 83 and 84, is it?
That was going to actually be my next question, directed specifically for you, David, was, how did you stay in producers' good graces to be able to then go on to The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi?
Well, I think it was, you get to know the assistants and everything and different people. And I think, people say, they used to talk and say, well, look, they're doing, the next one, the Empire Strike, the Return of the Jedi. And then I was a B-Wing pilot. I think I was one of the only living B-Wing pilots now. All the others are upstairs. And of course, then there was the Empire Strikes Back, an X-Wing pilot. But I think it was a sort of a following. You got your foot in the door and they seemed to get to know you. And then you sort of followed on from there with small parts, which was pretty good. And it was quite a nice production. George Lucas was pretty good. I mean, he was, he knew what he wanted, and we all found that out, didn't we, in the end?
Absolutely.
So,
well, you're
Ari.
Pardon? Sorry?
Go
ahead.
It's frozen.
I know everyone's video is doing well. If it's on your end, it might just be a slow connection, but you're okay.
So I went on for, we worked on it for weeks and weeks. I don't know, Elstree, it's mostly all done at Elstree Studios, and did a bit of various things, doubling for Mark and all sorts of stuff. You know, when he was in LA, it was cheaper to use me. So they stuck me up in a couple of rockets, left me up there for a few days.
All right. Well, thank you very much, David. So let's see. I've got a lot of other questions, but I want to remind our viewers out there, and for any new viewers that we have, if you guys would like to ask a question to our guests, you need to do so in the Q&A room. There are 2 sections where you can type in questions. One is a chat room. The chat room is only for fans to talk to each other. If you want to ask the guys a question, you need to do it in the Q&A room. So you put your question in there. I'll be screening them all and reading them as we go in, and the guys will answer it for you live right on the air. But that'll give some fans some extra time to get in some questions. Let me continue with some predetermined questions that I've written. Jack, I want to go over to you. In the research that I was doing, it said that you were studying law and economics. And I'd like to know how you did a career change from that to acting.
There was a little change. So I grew up in South Africa. I wanted to be a lawyer. My family were against apartheid. My uncle actually went to prison for some considerable time for his opposition to apartheid. My aunt went briefly. My dad was banned. I was a lawyer. And so at a certain point, I thought I'd find a different kind of justice through storytelling. And what more storytelling thing can you find other than, Star Wars and the myths? So what happened was I finished my initial degree. I then went to the Bristol Old Vic Theatre School to train as a director and an actor, mainly for the theatre. And then as a result of that, I started to work in theatre and film. And as a matter of fact, I was supposed to, I only had 2 days on Star Wars. And in fact, my filming was very brief. There's another scene that I believe I was supposed to be in, which was a sort of interview scene, which I'm told later on, they phoned up my agent and she said, no, Jack is a classical actor. He's doing Shakespeare at the moment. He's at the Royal Shakespeare Company. He can't possibly go and do this little, whatever it is, this little thing called Star Wars. He's at the Royal Shakespeare Company. So there's a scene, I believe, that I'm supposed to be in, and I wasn't. I don't know if that's true, but all I do know is that I went from reading law to justice through storytelling to training at the Bristol Vic. I wanted to be a director, but the principal at the school said, "You're a bloody show-off, be an actor first."
Did you fire that agent, or did she still work for you after Star Wars?
I was with her for probably longer than you've been alive. She's absolutely wonderful. She did good for me. That was one little blip. It's a shame, but I can't complain about my life. But I'm also really grateful that I was in Star Wars because it's based on the essence of myth, and that's why it has such a hold on people. And I love it. And by the way, I teach storytelling. So when I talk about storytelling, people know I was in Star Wars. They love it because it's based on just about every myth in every nation that's ever been. And that's why it has such a hold on people.
Jack, do you still have family in South Africa, and do you go back to visit?
I do have family in South Africa. Please, I'm not calling for the sympathy vote, but my mother died earlier this year. She was 100 years and 7 months old.
Oh, wow.
So she just died in Johannesburg. I have a brother there and nephews and nieces, and indeed grandnephews and nieces, and some other, and many, many friends. I've been very lucky because the people I went to school with, we stayed in touch. But I've been here since 1973. In England.
So I think
and I've been briefly in the States teaching and working, but yes, I've been here for some considerable time.
So being a Londoner is certainly in your blood.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
So Tim, let me move on. Yes.
I'll raise some questions.
Well, we're getting there. I'm working down the line. But since you're so gracious, Tim, I'm going to skip asking you the next question. I am going to go to Ari. So Ari, we'll make Tim wait. My question for you is, what was it like to help bring such an iconic character to life as Chewbacca? Those are some big shoes to fill.
Huge shoes to fill. I mean, what a fantastic experience. And with a lot of pressure as well involved. Obviously, Peter made that role his own. All the movements for that character were all his. He came up with it. A lot of them was to do with the way he moved himself personally, and to try and follow that was seriously hard. And you know, I just researched the films. I watched the films countless times to try and mimic exactly how he moved. And also, I think with obviously playing him in Solo, we had a little bit of freedom because it was a younger Chewbacca. So we were able to be, you know, myself and Jonas were able to be a little bit more physical with the character and do a lot more kind of upbeat movements with it, but still try and stick to what Peter had brought to life. Unfortunately, I never got to meet Peter, which was a shame. I would have liked to have spent some time with him and got to know the main man himself. But obviously, I spent a lot of time with Jonas, who did spend time with Peter. So I was able to take the knowledge that had been transferred over to Jonas, you know, and try and put that into the character himself.
How in depth? I mean, watching the film, you know, it's always hard to tell what's CG and what isn't, especially nowadays. But for the stunts that you did, I know one of the shots where you're hanging, I mean, obviously you may not be thousands upon thousands of miles in the air, but you're certainly hanging. You know, how dangerous were some of the stunts that you've done? Were you ever afraid? Did you ever get hurt on set?
I got hurt a few times, but it's a very, you know, we're very safe, very safety aware, and, you know, very conscious of health and safety on set. But yeah, there was a couple of times where I was scared. You know, I'm not a big fan of heights, I'm going to be completely honest. And when we were working on the train set, the carriage was sometimes up to 40, 50 foot high. And, you know, when you're working up there for 8, 9, 10 hours a day, it can you get quite leery. And obviously a lot of the stunts that happened on there were all real life. There was very little that was actually CGI on that scene. With the characters itself, obviously the background, etc. Was all built around CGI. But yeah, some leery times, but some fun times as well. Excellent.
All right, now we're going to move on to Tim. Tim,
okay.
I mean, you know, if you don't want to talk, I don't have to ask you any questions. So aside from this wonderful acting career that you had, you're also a singer and songwriter and a photographer, and I want to get into both of them. But let's start first with your books as a writer, because I was doing research, and you do have a Star Wars book, but you've got some other books as well. So can you share with our viewers a little bit about your method of writing? You know, why do you enjoy it? And then where can they get some of your books? You know, let's get that out there. How can they buy a book and read what you've written?
I mean, I only have two books actually under my own name. One is my autobiography called Falling Upwards, Scenes from a Life, which I started writing in 2002 when I turned 50. And it's been published 3 times now. And the second book was a sort of recollection of my work on Return of the Jedi. But I've also short stories in, I think, 11 anthologies. And I like writing short stories. There's something very pleasing about it. You know, you don't have to create an entire A to Z arc of a novel. You know, I was given titles like, okay, it's a horror anthology about signs of the zodiac. You've got Leo. Okay, right. So what do I write about Leo? Okay, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I still find that writing is probably my current creative venture. But I still do acting. I've got a movie coming out in September, which is part of the Dark Ditties series on Amazon Prime. And I do play, no, I can't do spoilers, sorry. I do have a rather sort of disturbing role at the beginning of it. But Yeah, no, writing is something that I can be self-sufficient. You know, I still have an acting agent. I still occasionally go for work. But writing, I can do it now. I could do it, you know, with this. You know, I don't have to have other people saying, oh, you know, you need to do this, you need to do that. So, I don't make music anymore. I've kind of done all that. And I'm very pleased with the music I have made over the years. But, you know, you just, I think you reach a point where you say, well, actually, I have done that. And I don't need to keep on trying to better that. I've done it. So there it is. Take it or leave it.
Can our viewers find any of your music or your books online where they can read
Sure.
or hear what you've done?
I mean, you can find most of the stuff I've written either as my own work or in anthologies on Amazon. Just put in Tim Dry and you'll find stuff. The music is slightly more problematic because I was signed to Bandcamp.com and I suddenly realized that they take money out of me and they also charge people who download my music as well. And I thought, no, sorry, that's not happening.
Yeah.
But yes, it is all out there. You just have to Google Tim Dry. You'll find pretty much everything, good or bad.
Perfect. All right. We'll make sure that our fans do that. Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's take our first fan question. And guys, these are in no particular order for anybody. I just kind of I've screened them first, make sure they're acceptable because we don't allow any questions about religion, sex, or politics. But beyond that, it's
no
kind of
sex.
like whatever.
That's no good.
Do you want me to take some sexy questions, Tim? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Hello. That's right here, baby.
So here's our first one from Janice, and this is directed to Jack. Tell us about your work as a professor of public understanding of science. And Jack, I want to add to that because that was one of my predetermined questions. I'd like to know exactly what it is that you do as a professor of internet, like a think tank in Brussels. Fill us all in about that.
So you don't want to know about the sex I had with Boris Johnson in the church?
No.
I mean, if you want to share that story, you are welcome to. The floor is yours, sir.
You know, sex and politics, that's got sex, politics, and religion and everything. I mean, don't get too excited about the professor, the public understanding of science. I mean, very briefly, at a certain point, as I was working in the theater and trying to explore new ideas, I came upon what was then known as the new physics. In fact, the revolution in physics had taken place 8 decades before. It's really about the fact that suddenly, at the end of the 19th century, scientists discovered that there are such things as particles that are smaller than atoms. An atom is supposed to be indivisible. There's not supposed to be anything smaller than an atom. And once scientists discovered there were things smaller than atoms, they started to discover that these things, subatoms, subatomic particles, behave in amazing ways. And this was quite a challenge to Western civilization. How did I get into it? Well, I started to work in the theater. And in the theater, I reflected something that scientists were discovering. Please don't let's get complicated. It's very simple. Scientists were discovering that if you observe something, you affect it. That's very obvious. It's especially true with atoms and particles smaller than atoms. But it's also true in the theater. You know, I come on stage, I say something, they say something back. If they're funny and in a good mood, then I can be in a good mood. We give each other energy. They're in a funny mood, I have to sort of work with them. Each one of us, all of us will know what it's like to be in an audience, what it's like to present, to perform. So I was playing around with the idea that the observer affects that which is being observed. I got invited to write a book about that, and then I got invited to join a think tank in Brussels, which was pretty kooky. Now remember, I had been in space 1999, and I joined the think tank in the year 1999. And from then on, I've just worked among scientists and artists to try and understand how the mind works, how creativity works. And it's rather wonderful to encounter brilliant people in the arts and the sciences. It's really simple as that. Arts and sciences, I mean, it's really as easy as that.
It's incredibly intriguing and interesting, and I appreciate the insight, Jack. Thank you. That's great. So I hope Janice is, she's probably going to do, Janice joins us almost every week, and I'll bet you she'll be online looking up what it is that you do, a little bit more information on that. Our next question is from Dylan, and this is directed to David. David, Dylan would like to know, what was it like to work with Sir Alec Guinness?
Lovely. He was a very unassuming man, quite quiet actually, pleasant. Always, he had a very dry sense of humour, but a gentleman. And don't forget, I had the mask on all the time, myosely, with the tentacles hanging down. You've got pictures, and of course, I was absolutely sweating buckets underneath it, so it was quite uncomfortable. But that was a scene where the land speeder was sold, but no, he was a very, very pleasant, down-to-earth chap. He said to me, he made me laugh. He said, "I'm so glad I haven't got to wear that shit." So, meaning the mask. Those masks were dreadful because you couldn't just take them off. They were like a hat, a head thing. They're molded. These days, they probably have something that you could rip it off at the back, Velcro or something. But they were awful, and I used to put straws up the nose. But anyway, getting back to Alec, no, he was so over the moon. He said, if they asked me to wear one of those, he said, I'm going home. So, it was he was lovely. The same with Mark as well. Mark, because the three of us were in that particular scene, with the land speeder deal going on.
Wonderful. So before we get to our next question, and I forgot to brief the guys about this, so you guys will be briefed like any new viewers that we have. Throughout the show, we like to do polls. Polls are literally just for fun. We don't know who says what the answers are. They're just something that we add to the show for a little bit of an added level or layer to our time together. So my tech guy, Tyler, is going to throw up.
Princess Leia.
What?
No, sorry, you said Leia. I thought Princess Leia. Forget it.
Oh, not that type of Leia, but you're...
Okay.
So I'm going to ask my tech guy, Tyler, to throw up our first poll. Everyone can play along, including the actors, if you want. Where did you see your first Star Wars movie? In a movie theater, a drive-in theater, VHS or Laserdisc, TV, or DVD? So
okay,
everyone...
Can we touch screens safely now?
You can touch your screen safely, yes, as long as you only touch the poll. So we'll take our next question, and then after the question, we will find out what the results are. So this next question is directed to Ari. This is from Kyle. Kyle would like to know, out of the Star Wars movies you have been in, nope, is this the right one? Yeah. Sorry, I'll get there.
Yeah, come on.
The Star Wars movies you have been in, what was your favorite stunt to perform?
Favorite stunt? Probably episode 9. We spent 6 weeks on the back of a speeder driving through the desert at around 120, 130 kilometers an hour. Not tied on, not hanging on because I had the bowcaster, which I've got to use with 2 hands. So it was fun. It was challenging. It was scary because if you take one false move, if the driver took one false move, or we hit a stone or a rock that he didn't see, then even though it had good suspension, there was a chance you could fall off. And you had to be ready as well if it did sort of turn over or whatever. You had to be ready to jump out, and that's not great at 120 kilometers an hour. But we did that for 6 weeks, and in the backdrop of Jordan, which is just a spectacular place to be. We drove up there every day pretty much, and to work in those mountains and in that desert, just amazing. And you know, to be hanging on the back of a speeder, shooting at stormtroopers chasing you on bikes, it's just every boy's dream.
So I've got a question to add to that, Ari. Now that my mind is spinning, was there a stunt that you couldn't wait to do? Like when you got the script and you're working out with the stunt coordinator, and you were just jazzed, like, wow, I can't wait till we get to that shooting day and we get to do this stunt.
It probably was that. Was being on the speeder, because it's just such an exhilarating experience to do. I mean, there was a number of scenes in Solo. I mean, the whole fight scene in Solo with Han in the prison was brilliant to do. Alden's such a fun character to work with, and every day I look forward to that. Even though we spent 13, 14 hours in the mud, you know, under 25, 30 kilograms of mud just stuck to the suit. By the end of the day, I was absolutely knackered, but I couldn't wait to get back up and do it all over again. And you know, I had fun throwing around Alden and also his stunt double. So yeah, definitely look forward to that.
Very cool. So our next question is going to be directed to Tim. Tim, this is from a fan, Pete. When it comes to your photography, what or who influences you the most, and what would you tell someone who is starting out in photography?
Whoa. I was influenced by sort of Art Deco photographers. You know, people who did portraits back in the 20s and 30s. And I seem to have completely disappeared right now.
You're with us. Go ahead.
Oh, there I am. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong rectangle. I was always influenced by painters, actually, because I went to art school and I was a failed painter. And suddenly, many years later, I discovered photography, and I thought, that's what I can do. That's how I can express myself. What advice can I give? If you have an eye, pursue it. It doesn't matter whether you've got an iPhone or a Nikon, blah, blah, or a huge FA, you know, whatever. If you see something that you can capture, then do it. You know, you don't need a darkroom these days. That's the wonderful thing. Because when I started doing photography, you had to have a darkroom, you had to have an enlarger, you had to have trays of noxious chemicals, you know. And now, of course, you can do it all through Photoshop or, you know, other apps. But if you see something that captures your eye, go for it. Just do it. You know, it's easy. It's a pleasure. It's a joy.
Excellent advice. Thank you so much,
Thank
Tim.
you. Yeah.
Our next question is directed to Jack, and this is from Francis. Jack, Francis would like to know, as someone who worked on two big franchises, Star Wars and James Bond, what were the differences between the two big franchises work-wise?
Well, I'll try and be as brief as I can on this. I mean, first of all, when I worked on Star Wars, it was not a big franchise. From the time I worked on it in 1976 to the time it hit big in 1977, it was an enormous change. Initially, it was an interesting film, and then it became a worldwide hit. That was in 1976 into 77. The Bond film I did was in 1980. And by then, Bond had been going for 20 years. It was established, it was full, it knew itself. And also, I was on it for much longer. I was on the Bond film for 12 weeks. And a lot of those were, you know, I started out in Greece. I had another job in Greece. So I went across from one bit of Greece to another. I was in Greece in my own caravan in the middle of nowhere, writing pleasurably. I was writing plays at that time. And I wrote, and I had an amazing time for 11 weeks. It was a completely different franchise. Roger Moore was phenomenally relaxed. Cubby Broccoli, who was somewhere between my dad and Marlon Brando as the Godfather, was a very gentle guy. He didn't sound quite like Donald Trump. A little more whiskey. And he was just a gentle guy, played backgammon, looked after you. It was a very, very different experience. It was established. People who've worked in the later Star Wars may well have found that, but I was on a deck chair in Elstree, surrounded by actors who were going, what the hell is this? You know, it hadn't found its feet yet.
Right. So let's look at the results of our first poll, guys. Tyler, throw up the results.
Oh my God.
Ooh. And everyone, it looks like the movie theater is #1 for where they saw it first. The drive-in came in almost last. That's where I saw it. Where did you guys see it? Where did our panelists see it? Did you all go to the theater for the premiere, or did you take your families, whatever variant you were in? When did you see it?
I went to the Close Encounters at the Dominion in Tottenham Court Road, and they showed the trailer for Star Wars. And I said to my girl at the time, I've got to fucking, I have to see this. Sorry, can't. And I did. And I just thought, wow, this is, having seen 2001, which is probably the last sort of major sci-fi movie, suddenly Star Wars just represented something completely new. You know, this is before Alien, I think. And I would never have dreamt that in 3 or 4 years I'd be actually in one. You know, that's you can't think that's impossible. Exactly. But there was a big screen in London. You know.
Ari, where did you see Star Wars for the first time?
Well, I was. I normally do admit this, but I used to be a big Star Trek fan when I was a kid. So I actually said that in my audition. But I was a big, because my family was very, we're all big fans. My dad was a huge fan of Star Trek. And obviously through the sci-fi, that's when I started getting into other films, and I just happened to come across Star Wars. And I was only young. I wasn't of an age to go and watch it in the cinema. Most of them had come out. So, I watched it on TV at home and fell in love with it straight away with being a big sci-fi fan. And it's been one of my faves ever since. And now to be part of the story is just fantastic.
Yeah.
David, what about you?
Sorry, what was it?
Where did you see Star Wars?
I saw it in actually Leicester Square. Was it the Odeon? Leicester Square, was it there?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure. I think it was the Odeon, Leicester Square. I'm sure that 77, the end of 77, I think, something like that.
And after working on it, and like what Jack said, there were a lot of people working on it going, oh my God, what did we get ourselves into? Now you're in the theater, now you're seeing it. What's your reaction?
Well, I just think they were very clever. I mean, somebody was very clever along the way, and there's Cotton Nods or something that's just, well, I don't think they'll ever make anything else ever like it. I was, funny enough, I was kept on it for weeks. I mean, I don't know, some of the time I wasn't doing much. I was covering the set with polythene because the pigeons were shitting all over it was an open air set and all this stuff. You know, I was on it for weeks. But anyway, getting back to Leicester Square, I feel sure that's where I first saw it. But
I hope they were equity pigeons.
Equity pigeons? No. Kenny Baker and Mark Hamill, they were all I've got photos of it. It was quite funny. I didn't think anyone would be interested, but I've got pictures of Kenny Baker, me, and Mark. And they were watching me roll out the polythene at night because the pigeons used to shit all over the set at night. And so in the morning, they used to say, come in, David, just you take roll the pigeon shit up so as we could start filming. I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, that was my job for about 8 weeks.
Do you have a photograph of that?
Yeah, I've got it's amazing. Why would you like it?
Do you have it handy? Can you show us on screen?
Hang on. I'll move away.
You move away, and Jack's going to answer the question while you're gone. So go ahead. So Jack, you're the last one for that question. Where did you see Star Wars? And I'll interject my second half of that question, being that you were on it going, oh my God, what's going on? And then finally seeing the finished product. You know, what was your reaction?
Well, first of all, I wasn't saying what's going on. I was grateful for the work, and I had no idea. I didn't know. But I've never seen Star Wars.
Really?
No, I'm kidding. I have seen it, but only once. And I saw it quite a while after it opened, because I was out of town. I was genuinely in Stratford upon Avon. And so there was a little delay before I saw it. And I saw it, yes, at a big West End proper cinema. And I was blown away. I had no idea they were going to do that, because we saw the blue screen, we saw all that stuff. We saw how it was made, and then to see how it was put together. At that, I mean, whatever you think of the technology now and what we can do now, that was extraordinary for its time. It was mind-blowing. So, you know.
All right, David is back. So David, in order for everyone to see the picture, I need you to talk so that Zoom takes over your video, and then maybe just explain what we're looking at. So go ahead, sir.
Well, this is me, Kenny and Mark. This is me with a roll of polythene ready to put. We're nearly finishing shooting for the day. And this was the roll of polythene, because nobody could understand that somebody sent this from your neck of the woods, from LA, and said, this is David with a roll of polythene. What was he doing? And then somebody from Germany said that was to cover the set to save the people having to scrub the floor and everything and all the props overnight, because the pigeons would shit over everything. So we just used to rip the polythene off. And if you can see this photo now, there's not
hold it up. Hold it up a little bit more, Dave, into the camera. There you go. And maybe come a little bit closer.
Yeah.
And I had some lovely gold watch that I don't know where that came from, but it's disappeared. So I don't know whether it was a prop or what, but it was a very odd situation. But did you have any of that, Tim? Nicked it?
No, sorry.
No. Can you see it, Derek?
It's a little bit sort of reflective.
A little reflective.
Yeah.
Well, I can.
Yeah, sort of.
What should I do? Up or down?
Down a little bit. Right there. Hold it. Wait. No, go up a little bit again.
You should scan it and then put it on Facebook or something.
Okay.
You know, on one of the many Star Wars Facebook pages. Because people love that stuff. You know, that's history.
Yeah, that's great, David. Thank you for sharing it. Maybe you could scan it in and send it to us, and we'll post it on the Cool Water site and the in-house site to get it started if you want.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Nice. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's interesting, but they just sat there and watched. They didn't do a stroke. They didn't do a bloody stroke. They left me to it.
Yeah.
That was my job for about 6 weeks, rolling up the pigeon shit.
I noticed they didn't credit you in the film for that.
Such great on TV, isn't it?
So, Jack.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Jack, can you tell us what exactly is the connection between your dad and Nelson Mandela?
Whoa.
So I grew up in Johannesburg. My dad had a watchmaking business in Johannesburg, which started out really in the 50s. And by the 60s, the shop was a workshop, a watchmaker's shop, and also jewelers. My dad had about, 8 watchmakers working with him, but he fixed a lot of the watches himself. And one day, this lawyer came in. The watchmaking business was near the Supreme Courts in Johannesburg, and there were a lot of lawyers and lawyers' offices around. And this very tall, very good-looking black guy came into my dad's workshop, spoke to my mother, and gave my mother all the watches to be fixed from this lawyer's firm. And one of the watches was the watch of Nelson Mandela. So my dad fixed Mandela's watch in the early 1960s, not long before Mandela went on the run, got arrested, and then spent 27 years on Robben Island. And so it was on a watch that my dad fixed that Mandela counted out the seconds, hours, days, months, and years of his sentence.
Wow, that is incredible.
Yeah, poetic metaphor.
Our next question is directed to Ari. Ari, this is from Kyle. I really like the watch story. Okay, Ari, what was the hardest lesson to master to help bring Chewbacca to life?
Oh, it's 100% the walk. Peter had this very unique walk that took quite a while to try and master. And I think even when you spend an hour upon hour on set, it was always at the back of my mind that you had to get the walk right. Now on Solo, like I said before, we did have some sort of freedom because he was a slightly younger Chewbacca. But episode 9, obviously, the older Chewbacca again, and we just had to get that right. And it was the same with Jonas as well. I think getting that walk right was definitely the biggest challenge to playing the character.
Thank you. All right, the next question we have will be, well, actually, you know what? Before we do that, Tim, I want to ask you a question. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about TikTok and your history there?
Well, it's actually Tick and Tock, mate.
Sorry, Tick and Tock.
Tick and Tock. We got together in 1980 after busking on the street in Knightsbridge in London as robots. And we thought, wow, people are chucking money into this top hat. We could do more of this. And so we decided to call ourselves Tick and Tock. And we just went off and did everything anywhere. And we became very famous. And it was, once we got on TV, it was extraordinary, really. Yeah, because no one had really done it. Well, not in the same way. We made robotic movement sexy. And I think before that, there were people doing sort of robotic movement, but it was always a bit clinical, you know? So we decided to make it glam and sexy, and it worked.
Can people see videos of Tick and Tock? Is it on any platforms or on
YouTube? Everything is on YouTube these days. Come on. You know it. I've also got the Tick and Tock official Facebook page. You can see all the stuff there, you know. I mean, yesterday I posted up this thing. It was 40 years ago yesterday that Sean and I went busking for the first time as robots, as Tick and Tock. 40 effing years ago.
Wow.
I mean, you weren't even born, Derek. I mean, it's so cruel. It's so harsh.
The time flies, but look, you're still here, Tim, and you're making art and you're doing photography. It never ends. We have a quick...
I'm fully mechanical from the waist down. Stand up anymore.
All right, our next question is directed to Ari and Dave, and it's for Janice, because you guys wore, no, actually, sorry, Tim, you would be part of this as well, forgive me. Regarding wearing the costumes and masks, she wants you to talk a little bit about movement and breathing, and how did you eat, how did you rest while you were in costume?
Eat? Sorry, who is this lady who needs to know these answers?
Janice, she's one of our best viewers. She's been with In-House Con almost from the beginning. We love her.
Okay. Hi, Janice. Tim Dry here. Personally, for me, the first day on set on Jabba's Palace with the huge head and the furry costume, people were passing out because they couldn't breathe. And so they had to take the heads off and blow cold air down our necks with hair dryers. it was that bad, you know, because you were stuck on set. There's hundreds of people. There were camera crews, background artists, you know, cameras, smoke machines, lights, everything. So we were just sort of stuck. So it was, yeah, it was pretty heavy, but we got through it. We're troopers. Right, that's my answer, and I'm sticking.
Ari or David, who wants to take the next whack at that question?
Okay. I remember, similar to Tim,
yeah.
I mean, this head thing that I had to wear, but I remember with the nose of the actual mask, it was in line with my mouth. It was all disproportionate to the human face.
Oh yeah.
I used to stick straws up the nose to have a drink, you know, so as I didn't have to take because sometimes they didn't like, even if you're nearly passing out, as Tim said,
yeah,
you didn't like to take that, you know, didn't like to take it off because you bugger the shot up, you know, but sometimes it's unbearable. But I used to have a drink. I used to put straws up the nose of the head.
Luxury.
Sorry?
We didn't have straws up our noses, mate.
Why?
The supper. We had to wait until lunchtime to get the heads off.
No. We made sure, Tim, because exactly what you said, we were nearly collapsing. I remember Eileen Roberts, who was quite a small one, and there was a couple of midgets or small people, and you know, it was horrific, and all that bloody smoke they used to. I mean,
carcinogenic or what?
Pardon?
And the lights as well.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't a great deal of fun, to be honest. You know?
No, but I remember I got very well paid for it. But I do remember that straw business, putting the straws up the nose of the mask to get into your mouth, so you could have a drink.
Or the lines of Charlie. Oh, sorry.
No. That's right. And then they used to have this running buffet lunch. Do you remember that in the corridor?
No, the only running buffet was after I'd eaten beans for lunch.
Well,
hang on.
This was while we were doing the cantina scene. I remember the cantinas. Were you in the cantina scene?
You were in the first movie, right?
Yes.
I was in Jed. Things were a little bit more organized, but not that much. Still the same stuff, you know, discomfort and lack of oxygen and
And then, Ari's lucky enough to be in the new movies, and what do? They bring the buffet to you, right, Ari?
Yeah, I did have a lunch on top of that train many a day, I can tell you that.
Bloody hell.
Hey, listen, we were working that hard, we didn't have a chance to get down. We were up there, and when we were up there, we stayed up there.
Good on you.
But I mean, I pretty much, I reckon I probably spent, I don't know, definitely, well, out of the 3 years, maybe 250 days in the Chewbacca suit.
You're kidding.
Oh yeah, I was in it every day on set, and because Solo went on for 9 months, and then we went back for a month for reshoots.
Wow.
So 9 was 9 months. I did a lot of promotional work as well, in and outside of filming. Traveled around Europe in the suit because I just loved doing it, and I just wanted to help out Disney. Emotional
okay, question: do you actually have the suit?
No, I don't know. Do you realise that those suits, the Chewbacca suits, if you add up the man hours, the amount that goes into the costume, etc., they're close to $500,000 a suit, and I've got 6 of them. I haven't shown this to many people, but that's me with 2 of my heads. I don't know whether you can see.
2 of your heads.
2 of my heads. I think I've got. How many heads have I got now? I think I've got 5 heads. I've got 2 stunt heads and 3 normal heads, which are just used for normal acting.
But here, this is a good segue to another question. This is from Kyle, and it's directed to everyone, and it was actually on my question as well. But I'm going to open it up not just to Star Wars. Have any of you appropriated or nicked anything from a movie set that you've been on? And if so, what was it?
Well, my wife to be is actually a makeup designer, so she has quite a lot of items that she obviously stored away on the film sets, but quite a lot of items that we can have access to. We're never allowed to take them off set, but it's good to see them and, you know, go in and have a look at them. But we don't have anything at home, unfortunately, because well, it's not allowed. And I don't want to lose my job.
What about you, Tim?
No, sadly, I have nothing.
All right. Jack?
No, I don't have anything either. I do have the script, the original Star Wars script.
Whoa.
Well, my sides. I don't have I have bits of it, not the whole thing. But I don't have any. No, I don't have anything from anything I've ever done. Once or twice I've thought, oh, this would be great. I'd love this costume. But most of the time I play loonies and weirdos and things like that. So I once went to a designer place to get a sweater, and it had a whacking great bloody parrot on it. So usually I can't think of anything I've done where I've gone, oh, that'd be, where I've, you know, taken it away. Just memories, just memories.
Memories are good. David, what about you?
No, I've got to admit, I'm very honest. I'm honest. I wouldn't do anything.
What's he doing?
Well, that's very. Oh, Ari's got something to show us here.
So these aren't mine, but this is obviously something pretty cool. So we have a real Oscar.
Bloody hell.
And a real BAFTA.
Bloody hell.
Which my wife to be.
Are they yours?
What
they're
are
not my wife to be.
They belong to your wife to be.
Yeah, so I met her on Star Wars. We met in Jordan, so a galaxy far, far away. And she applied the makeup to the Emperor in episode 9. She did that. And she won the Oscar for The Darkest Hour for Gary Oldman.
Yeah, well deserved.
Yeah, so it's not from a film set, but it's pretty cool.
No, that's way better than a prop. And what's the BAFTA for?
The same thing. She won for both.
Oh, the makeup for Gary Oldman.
And the makeup for Gary Oldman. Yeah.
You haven't married this girl yet?
No, December. If she holds out.
Why?
Can I just ask? She's gonna marry you as you, or is she going to transform you into somebody else before she marries?
She's already done that, actually. She's transformed me into a fish man. I did it for a show once for her, so she has actually transformed me.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay, moving along now, Derek.
We're moving on. Let's do another poll. Tyler, throw up a poll for us.
What about all these sort of videos that people are supposed to be paying money for?
We don't have any of those right now, Tim.
Right, okay.
Right, but we're going to do a poll.
Well, that's good.
Should Disney make a sequel to Solo? Absolutely, or no, we don't need it. No, we need a Chewbacca movie. Oh, I like that. That's what I'm going to answer. So while everybody answers that, Tim, let's do a question. Let's do a question for everybody, but you're going to kick everybody off. Do you have a favorite director that you've worked with in your career, and why? And guys, this can be for stage, film, or TV, just any director in general.
Oh, Steven Berkoff. But I hate him. But I love him too.
And what project did you work with him on?
I did a film called Decadence with him. It was his first directorial debut, based on a stage play of his. And the stage play was just a two-hander. Everything was done in mime. But he decided he got the money to make it into a feature movie. And I was one of his, I was one of Joan Collins' entourage. And it was great to be in it, but Mr. Berkoff, he's probably not going to watch this anyway, but he's like, no, I can't. Sorry. He's Hitler-esque. Yeah, no, I would love to have worked with Nicholas Roeg or David Lynch, you know, but nothing happening so far, you know.
Gotcha.
I did do a movie with Michael Winner, but that's a ghastly horror fest.
Okay. David, how about you? Favorite director you've ever worked with?
Well, I think I'd say George Lucas. I mean, he just was amazing. He just hit it on the head. I mean, he just did the whole thing. I mean, I think it was amazing what he did. I mean, Star Wars wouldn't be probably what it is today without him.
No, it wouldn't.
Absolutely. Jack, how about you?
The directors I really have loved, been in the theatre. And so I have very dear friends with whom I've worked on solo pieces, Anthony Biggs and Graham Callan, who aren't particularly, they're pretty well known, but they're not internationally known. I love them. But the best theatre director I worked with was a man called Bill Gaskell, who was pretty much of a bully. He's passed on now. He was pretty much of a bully, but he brought things out of actors that other directors couldn't reach. And when we finished the run, he came up to me and this is the greatest compliment I've ever received from anyone. He hugged me and said, "You were all right, I suppose." And you know, he taught me the most. And I just mentioned one other man because he was a dear friend of mine. He died recently. Donald Howarth was not that well known, but unquestionably as a writer and a director, the most influential director I knew.
Well, peace with him. That's, yes, absolutely. Do you prefer, Jack, film, stage over film?
No, I think they're equal. They're just different, but equal. And I've been lucky, like Tim, I've been doing stuff recently on film. I love doing it, but it's completely different. And of course, you can tell I have a big face, I have big expressions, a big voice. I have to cut it all down, so it's quite a good skill to have. I love the theater, and you know, I love working in film. The problem is that with film, more people see you. So that's one of the things you just got to take into account. And very often the money's better, but they're equal in terms of just love for the medium.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interject. Sorry, I think that theatre is so much more real than film or TV. You are actually portraying someone in front of a live audience, and they either love you or they hate you. But you are giving yourself repeatedly every night. Whereas in a movie, it's like, okay, cut, let's do that again. It's like, you know, it's not the same thing. It's like sort of acting by numbers. You know, correct me, Jack, if I'm wrong. But it's like, yeah, you're not really portraying a performance, a character. You're doing it in sections. And so someone somewhere, the editor is going to put it all together and say, wow, what a great performance by Jack or Tim there. You know, but actually what you've done is just do a little bit here, a little bit there. Oh, okay, whatever. You know, stage is frightening. It's terrifying, really, because if you cock it up in front of those people, you have cocked it up. But if you get it right, the response is fantastic. It's real. It's visceral. You know, you can feel it from the people. So there you go. That's my answer. Sorry.
Can I come back again just a little bit?
Please.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks, Tim. That's absolutely right. I mean, I've been very lucky because very often I write my own material. So I do something that's a bit between stand-up and storytelling, where I've written my own material and I perform it. And then I have a movie in my mind and I control it. So I start from beginning to end. And one of the most remarkable things, which you don't get, I've done some of my work on screen, on television, but it's still screen. But when you're in a live theater and you're doing the kind of work that I do, like right now, I can take in your reactions. So there's a wonderful interactive thing that goes on. And very often people have called things out to me that have been amusing, that I can work on, that I can, you know, I'll just give you one really quick example. I was doing a storytelling show in Toronto, Canada. And I said, you know, we're unlike other creatures, you know, we drink whether thirsty or not, we make love all year round. And somebody called out, speak for yourself. And then I said, and we have single opposable thumbs. And somebody called out, yeah, it means you can hitchhike. And I said, oh yeah, hitchhike. And I was in Canada. I said, oh, hitchhike, yes, exactly. I said, I mean, you don't see a moose standing by the side of the road trying to hitch a lift. And he said, if you do, don't pick him up. So those kind of things, they kind of make a show because you're in the thing, you're doing the story, and you're going on a journey with them. So it's a fantastic thing. That's one of the great things about the theater. Look, don't get me wrong. I don't go to the theater that often. I go to the movies. So, but yeah, go ahead.
Theater is organic. Cinema is not organic. It's almost the opposite. It's cut and paste. It's chop and change.
Right.
Anyway, sorry, Derek.
No, guys, this is exactly what I love, and the viewers love it too. So I appreciate that. I'm going to bring us back on track here for 1 second. Ari still needs to answer the question about your favorite director, and then we're going to see the results to our poll.
Well, I've only had 4 years experience and only within film, but I have been very lucky to work with quite a lot of, you know, well-established directors and up-and-coming directors. I've just finished on Marvel's Eternals, which was directed by Chloe Zhao. She's won a number of awards, Sundance, etc. But from a Star Wars perspective, I've only worked on 2 films, but I've actually worked with 4 directors, believe it or not, because I worked with Chris and Phil, Ron Howard, and JJ. But out of them, JJ by far is my favourite director to work with. He just seems to be 10 steps ahead of everyone. You know, he has his vision, and he knows what he wants to put on screen. And like I say, he's 10 steps ahead of everyone. Any department, he's ahead of them.
Yeah, JJ's brilliant. You know, Billy D. Williams did the last film, and when he came home from London, he told me that JJ was one of his favorite directors that they've ever worked with. He thought he was incredible.
Yeah, he is superb. I mean, Ron Howard is brilliant. You know, he's been around a long time, and he is very good at what he does. But I would say, from personally, JJ is another step above.
It's a perfect answer. Perfect answer. My tech guy Tyler is going to throw up the results to the last poll we took. So Tyler, what do we got here? Oh, it's a 50-50 split.
Oh, God.
Ari, I thought for sure we were going to have a Chewbacca movie just for you to star in with Jonas, but I guess not. So anyway.
I asked him for a solo movie, so.
That about brings us to the end of our show today. Before we leave, and before I ask the gentlemen to say their goodbyes, for those of you who have tuned in before, you know I always give my small business speech, and this week is just the same. In America, we have this term, and it is that small business is the backbone of America. Cool Waters Productions is a privately owned, family-run business, and COVID-19 has hit my family and I very hard. And so I want to personally thank everyone who purchased tickets to today's event and who has purchased autographs from our guests today. You are keeping small business alive when we can't come and see you guys in person on the road. So thank you so much to everyone for doing that, and I hope that you'll join us for August. We have a lineup for every weekend in August, and we're planning September as well. With that said, I also want to make sure that I do thank Tyler, my tech guy, for all of his amazing work. My webmaster, Sarah. Without her getting this information out there, we wouldn't have a show. And then Tyler, right now, to all the fans who are watching in the chat room, he is going to put up a link. The link goes directly to the autograph store. And in the autograph store right now, you can still purchase autographs from all 4 of our guests today. And those autographs will come Beckett certified, and the guys will personalize it if you put your name in the comments section. And we have several images of everybody available from their various works. So please go to the store, support my clients, support small business, And again, thanks for watching. We're going to
Okay.
start our goodbye. Yes, Tim, what?
Sorry, Derek.
Okay, we're going to start our goodbyes today with David. David, take it away with your goodbyes, please.
Derek, I just wanted to say, what about the people that wanted a sort of video chat thing?
We're not doing, those are all done, Tim.
What?
Yeah, the autographs are what we're doing.
No, not the autographs, but the video chat.
Yeah, the
with
video,
one-to-one.
There are no one-on-ones.
Thank you very much,
They're just
Derek.
autographs. Yeah.
Thanks for organising everything, Derek, and it's lovely to see you and all the people in America. I gather there's probably other people from around the world zooming in, isn't there? Not just America, is it? Is that right?
We've got people all around the world watching. Holland, London, where you guys are, Mexico, Canada, US. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had people asking me. A couple of people asked me today about it. What was the name of the Comic-Con, the virtual one, and I told them your Cool Water Productions. So hopefully they were able to link up. You've got a link with that, haven't you, on your website? I presume.
Yes, we do, sir. Yeah.
Anyway, it's lovely to see you all, and I'll be in touch with everyone, Tim and Jack.
Yeah. See you next time, David.
Yeah. Thank you.
Take care, David.
Derek, thank you very much for this opportunity. All right.
Absolutely, Tim. I appreciate you being here, and I miss seeing you in person. I can't wait to hang out with you again.
Okay, it's only been 13 years. Fuck it, we can wait. I said fuck it. Oh, sorry.
You're fine. You're all good.
Good.
All right, Tim, take care. Bye-bye.
Lost. Be safe.
Ari, how about you?
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining this online con. It's been a fantastic experience. Always love doing these events. Just being able to share the knowledge and the time and the experience we have on set, I think is just the smallest thing we can do for the fans, I think. So hopefully, if I'm in America, I might see you over there, or if I'm in the Netherlands or Canada, wherever you are today, hopefully I'll catch up with you in person at some point. But it's been great. Derek, thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's been great. And I'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, Ari. Take care now. All right, and Mr. Claff, you lead us out.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I want to say thank you from our Prime Minister. Thank you so much. And stay as well as you can. And don't go out unless you have to go out. And don't go to work unless you do. And I also want to pay tribute to your president, Mr. Donald Trump. Thank you very much. Good to talk to you. I want you all to take care. And thank you, Derek. This has been huge. It's been brilliant. We've had the most, the biggest, the greatest. Marvelous. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. We'll see you later. Oh, that was a good way to go out. Good laugh. Everyone who tuned in today, thank you so very much. As I remind everybody every week, we've got 30 seconds of credits. This is not the movie theater. Don't stand up and leave until all the credits roll. We'll see you next week, guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.